Oh, Jenna, come off the broadcast.
Yep, coming off.
All right.
This is confusing.
2021, we have fancy live stream technology. We're getting figured out. Welcome,
Right.
everyone who is getting tuned in. I'm Brittany here. For anyone who doesn't know me, Brittany Ramos de Veros. I'm so proud to be running for Congress to fight for New York 11. But right now is not about me. I'm here to interview some amazing women who have been doing incredible and really important work. To understand why people are making the decisions that they are, why they feel excited or frustrated about different parties, different candidates. And I think that understanding each other and deeply listening to each other is such an important thing for us to be doing if we want to make any progress. And so I'm so proud to introduce you to our special guests. And I will let you introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, your connection to this island, this work, and what led you to this and why you think it's important. And thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Helene, should I go first or do you want to go first?
I can go first if you want.
Okay, go ahead. Why not?
My name is Helene Montagna, and I am very involved in community theater in Staten Island. I've been a playwright, director, very rarely an actress. But I met Carrie through a mutual friend, and she told me about this project called the Staten Island Dialogue Project, where she was interested in seeing the divide between both sides of Staten Island and how they vote. And how it's so interesting how, it's completely different on one side of the island to the other, and it's such a small island. And she also has experience in documentary theater, which I had not been a part of before, which she'll explain more to that. So I just thought that it would be a great project. And we started to do it right before the election. We had hoped to do it by the 2020 election, but then, the COVID kind of derailed us. But I thought that it was a very important project, and throughout the project, we've had some really good conversations and really good dialogue with people on both sides. And it's been a learning experience for us and for all the people involved. And we hope that our audiences will feel the same way when they see it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And for anyone out there watching, either live or watching the recording later, a lot of people don't know, if you're not from here, that Staten Island has a pop-in theater. Especially youth and community theater scene. So I'm really excited to hear more about that as well in the future.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, please. Yeah. So Carrie. My name is Carrie Larson, and I was actually raised in Staten Island. Left when I was 18, swore I'd never come back, but moved back 3 years ago. And actually really loving it here. But as an occupation, I'm a teaching artist. So I go to different schools all around the city and use theater for different purposes, like English language acquisition with English language learners and students with disabilities, creating social justice theater with young people. And so I was always placed on different Staten Island schools. Since I grew up here, they would send me here. And as I would drive around to different schools, I would just notice how by almost some invisible line, the demographics would change, almost the sceneries and houses would change, the lawn signs would change, attitudes would change. And I found it really fascinating. And then after 2016, I really saw that amplified and amped up. And then when I moved here 3 years ago, and I joined some of the local Facebook groups, I realized that it was even deeper. The divide was even deeper than I had realized. And I was like, what is happening? And I also thought it was what was happening on this island was mirroring what was happening in the country. And I wanted to know why that was. And so I have a master's in something called applied theater, which is theater for social justice. And one of the things we do is we use theater to generate dialogue and for healing and reconciliation. And I thought, why not use some of those techniques and see if we can, start talking to each other again in a way where we could really listen and learn from each other, just like, like we used to. And it wasn't that long ago that we could actually disagree, maybe have some heated discussions, but we didn't hate each other in the end. And I think the way we talk to each other and listen has changed so much. And so the goal of this project, the Staten Island Dialogue Project, is to interview people from all over the island, from all walks of life, different backgrounds, and see what life experiences have influenced their vote. And if we could just see where people are coming from, we're taking our first step.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for, is a step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so powerful. And, I really love that both of you are bringing an arts and culture kind of organizing, but also just like straight up arts and culture background to this work, because I think of myself as someone who has really been a beneficiary of cultural organizing and what a lot of folks think of as like cultural or arts organizing. And, for anyone who doesn't know, I grew up in a conservative military family. I would have identified as a Republican for most of my young life. And now, I would most of the time probably identify as outside of both parties, like a lot of people on the island, but I most align in terms of like what's, where we're trying to go, I think with, I'm running as a Democrat because, I think that makes the most sense. And I'm hoping that we can continue to like build and transform. But, I think it's rare for folks in New York City maybe to meet people who have who have crossed the full political spectrum, right? And as someone who has done that myself, I know that it was music and movies and plays and a lot of different, and Facebook arguments, frankly, that helped shape my and memes even, right? Like that had an impact on that. And so I love that you all are incorporating that. That's so powerful. And so I'm curious, when you started this project, before we get into what you actually found, right, or have found so far, when you started this, I'm curious, what did you think that you would find? And how was the project initially received by people?
So, I hoped that I would find common ground. That was my hope, that we'd find people with very different backgrounds, very different experiences, but in the end wanting the same thing, which was, a good life for themselves, and that the way they vote would get them that they want they want to put a roof over their heads, they want a safe community, they want jobs, they want healthcare, they want all these things. But so I hoped we'd find common ground, and I hoped that when other people heard other people's stories and how they got to where they are, that there would be a deeper sense of empathy, of understanding. So that's what I hoped I would find. What about you, Helene?
I just hope that I would find probably I was more curious, I guess, as to the why Staten Island seems to be so divided, and so in so many ways so much different than the rest of New York City. It's just so interesting to me that of all the 5 boroughs, Staten Island is the red borough, and I find that very interesting. And I was hoping to understand, through conversation, why that was, why it is so different than the rest of the city, because we are part of New York City, so it is kind of interesting to me. And also, though, I think at the end of the day, we get caught up in so much of this arguing on Facebook and social media and stuff, but I do believe that no matter what side you're on, that people do want the same things. And I think that we did find some of that, and I thought that might be the case, but I wasn't sure. So.
And how did organizations, community members, when you told them that you were going to embark on this project at first, how was it received? Were people very supportive? Was there pushback?
So, when we applied for the grant with Staten Island Arts, it was, people were very supportive. But we were also getting started right around the time that COVID was happening. We were thinking about how do we go into different community-based organizations, religious institutions, political institutions, and get people interested. We were going to like hit the ground and like introduce ourselves and say, hey, if you know anyone. But we had to recruit over social media, which is, you know, what we were going to do as well. But it's different than meeting face to face and talking about, you know, because people don't know what documentary theater is. People hear theater, they're like, well, I'm not an actor.
Right.
And I have to explain, actually, we don't want actors. We want real people. So the people performing it are not actors. They're the people we interviewed. And you don't have to perform. You're going to have to read. So don't worry. I've got your back. I'll tell you what to do. And you know, that's easier explained in front of people. But
absolutely.
So, you know, I think there was, you know, some people were excited, some people were hesitant, but it was a little harder to recruit a diverse pool of people. We got a lot of actors at first. So
we did get a lot of actors, and we tried to, you know, even that out as well. And then some people were interested in speaking to us and did speak to us, but then ultimately decided they didn't want to perform with us because they were never acted before, or just because they just were intimidated by reading their words in front of an audience or things like that. So, you know, that was one of the challenges in getting the real people, because they had more issues with, you know, actually performing, you know, I guess in front of people. And I guess too, because it's very personal, right? To stand up there and talk about what your political beliefs are. And we never asked anyone who they voted for. But, you know, if they wanted to tell us, that was fine. And, you know, I think that's a very personal thing to say that, you know, who you voted for, or what your political beliefs are, or why you vote the way you do. So, you know, some people maybe just wanted that to keep that private, even though they spoke to us about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And like you said, because we live in a difficult climate, you know, to have these conversations. And yeah. Okay. So I'm curious then, where did you find you know, what do you feel like you found out through this? What did you learn? Were there things that you think people would be really surprised to hear, or did a lot of it line up with kind of what you expected?
I think a little bit of both. I think, you know, it does line up. I think with what the people we have for our play, a lot of it does line up, but we did interview a lot of people who had a very, she's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll continue. We did interview people with really interesting perspectives, but I think what, you know, I learned was that there was a real trajectory in people's lives and their experiences to where they are now. Like it started to make sense. Like I understood why they see the world they do the way they do, why they vote the way they do, why their belief system is the way it is. So I'm not sure if that surprised me, but it was something I learned.
Do you think that we should wait for her to come back, or I'm not sure? Like, do you think? I don't know.
Sure, I'm not sure. Jenna, are you still in here?
Here comes somebody.
Yes.
Hi. Are we still like? We're not sure.
We're going. I'm just gonna take over really quickly if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Absolutely.
We just didn't know if we should keep talking.
Yeah, of course. So thank you for sharing that, Carrie. What do you think the folks who are participating in the Staten Island Dialogue Project have learned throughout it? And what has their reaction been to, you know, meeting other folks who have also been doing the same thing?
I think, you know, at first they were apprehensive because, you know, it feels unsafe to have a lot of these conversations, these dialogues, because it's been unsafe. But we started every time we got together, we started each practice or rehearsal with a set of agreements on how we were going to work together. Assume good intent, that you can't argue with people's life experiences, that to use your I statements when speaking. And before we launched into any discussion, we would have that. So I think once we got that and started talking even about the agreements, we actually started getting into dialogue, and people felt comfortable. And you saw people really thinking about, like, they start to talk, they go, I think from my experience, it's this way because, and then they continue, like, really, really thinking about how they can bring it to themselves and still honor other people's points of view by disagreeing, by saying this, I feel this way because of my experience, ... And then it's been really great. And we've had some challenging discussions that way that didn't end up in fist fights, and it was good.
I am not sure if you all can hear me.
We can hear you.
I don't have sound for some reason.
Okay. We can hear.
I think
Mercury
is in retrograde or something, right? Y'all have been such
Yeah.
troopers dealing with the technical.
It definitely is.
The technology struggles tonight. I'm gonna plug my headphones back in and see if the sound comes back that way. Hello.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear us?
Okay, y'all can still hear me, but I
can't hear
audio for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh no. The struggle is real. We were just getting to the juicy part too, where I was gonna hear what y'all learned about. But I'm guessing that you continue to share that.
We did.
I lost. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for bearing with us on this. And regardless, I'm going to go back and listen to the answer because I'm dying to know personally. But in my host capacity here, I think that I want to make sure that everyone else can still hear you. So I want to make sure everyone else gets a chance to still hear, kind of, what would your advice be, like, based on what you've learned about this project? Kind of like, what are your takeaways, in terms of actionable takeaways about what can we do to bridge the divide, not in a shallow way, because it's important to me to say that, right? Sometimes when people say we have to listen to both sides and unity, it's in this really shallow way that kind of erases that not every position is a valid position, in my opinion, right? Like there are valid differences, but also, like, if you're being overtly racist, that's not okay, right? Like that's not a both sides situation, right? We need to talk to each other for real situation, but it's not a like both sides are valid situation, for example, right? And so what do you think when we think about but the reality is sometimes we've been conditioned into ideas that we haven't confronted in ourselves, right? We don't realize might not be quite right or might have some bias in them or whatever, right? And that is, I think, part of listening to each other. So kind of with that framing, I'm curious, what are your takeaways in terms of how do we hear each other better and how do we like move forward in terms of progress, right? You had talked about social justice, like how do we move forward with that learning in terms of building towards a more just society? I'm curious to hear both of your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean,
with
my
the
initial
acknowledgement that I won't be able to hear you right now, but I will listen, and the audience can hear you.
That's right. I forgot she can
hear like this. All right.
Should we hold up
signs? I know. I know. I think my initial thought is that when you engage in dialogue with the purpose of changing someone's mind, it's a losing battle. But when you engage in dialogue to understand, to see where people are coming from, to say, okay, we can disagree, but I want to know, I want to understand, why do you feel this way? Then at least, you open up the dialogue, and that's a different thing. I think we can't hope to always change people's minds because people don't want their minds changed. But they do want to understand. I think in the end, they want to understand where you're coming from. That's what I've found. What about you, Helene?
I think that one of the key things, and maybe this sounds very broad and generic, but I think that one of the key things is empathy. And I think that we, in the past few years, you know, there's been so much division for many reasons, but I think that we've lost the feelings of empathy. And I believe that the key to understanding is empathy. Like, put yourself in someone else's shoes. Don't automatically go to the attack, right? Don't go, well, you know, this is wrong because this and that, but, you know, why is there, or, you know, just the human side of it. For me, that's how I think that the healing process has to start. Because if you can't feel empathy or can't understand why someone is hurt or feel like they're treated unjustly or treated unfairly, then I don't think that any dialogue will help.
Right.
So she can't hear us.
Awesome. Thank you. And we're doing theater here, right? We're all I tried out to be in Oklahoma, the musical one. So we're all theater people. I was not successful.
We are.
That's
so
awesome.
you two are much more successful in the arena, but, you know, we'll all go with it. But, you know, I mean, the other thing I want to ask is, you know, if you might have shared some of this already, but anything in addition, you know, I always want to leave folks with next steps, right? So are there, you know, what are the opportunities to watch the performance that are coming up down the line, and will there be ongoing ways folks who want to share their stories or help spread the word? You know, is there a Facebook page or organizations that people can get involved in that you would recommend? Even if it's not specific to this project, we would love to shout them out. And if we don't already have the links, we'll make sure to share the links of whoever you shout out in the comments so that folks can check them out for themselves and get plugged in.
Well, I mean, I'd love to share our website and where you could buy tickets so people could come and see the show, which is this Friday and Saturday at Snug Harbor Cultural Center. It'll be on the Cottage Row houses on the porch, one of the porches in Cottage Row C, and at 6:30 each night. So Friday and Saturday at 6:30 at Snug Harbor. So if there's a way I could get the link to everyone, I would love everyone to come. Helene, can you think of any like to keep the dialogue going? I know I want to think about next steps, but I'm so in this project right now, I haven't thought about next steps yet. But Helene, maybe you have some ideas.
Well, I mean, we are going to have some talk. We're going to have talkbacks after both performances, so we'll be interested in hearing from people too, to see what dialogue that they'd be interested in speaking to. And as far as other places for that I am not 100% sure what I can recommend, but we can always think of something and we can send the links on and they can post them.
Yeah, I'll think on it and ask around.
Yeah, we could think about it and we can just ask them to post the links. I'm sure that would be fine.
Yeah. Oh, and Helene, I want to say I just saw that Mina, who we interviewed in for the project, is in this chat right now. If you look in the comments.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
yeah. Hi, Mina.
She can come see us.
I hope you're doing well.
Hi, Mina. We hope you can come see us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Excited to see this work come to life. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, wait, is Brittany coming back?
Right, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Now she can hear us. Yeah.
This has been the wildest live stream hosting experience I've had. So
the show must go on.
I've never done live stream before, so I don't even know how it's even happening right now. I guess I'll see it later.
Yeah. Well, you can find it on, and I mentioned our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitter. You can find you'll be able to find the video after the fact.
Awesome.
Okay.
And since this, while I'm still here, in case I get dropped off again, thank you. Definitely send anything that you think of your way. I'm excited to see the performance myself.
Will you be able to make it to the performance?
I hope so. I have to remind me the date and time.
Okay.
So this Friday and Saturday. So Friday the 25th and the 26th at 6:30 at Snug Harbor Cultural Center.
Yeah, so I will definitely come to one,
Okay.
at least. Yeah, I'm
That
really
would be
excited.
awesome.
So,
That'd be
yeah, I'll see you
amazing. We'd
all
love
in
to have
person,
you.
hopefully.
I'd
Yeah.
love that. And I was just saying, I don't know if you heard that one of the women we interviewed, Nina, is just wrote in the chat, so she's watching right now. She's going to participate in the reading, but her interview was amazing, and we learned so much from her and her perspective. So I'm
Yes,
glad she's
yeah.
here.
She
That's
unfortunately was
awesome.
not able to participate, but
Yeah.
we did learn a lot by speaking to her. So it's good to hear
Yeah,
from her.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you too for doing this amazing project, for the work that you've put into it. I'm so excited to see it personally. Everyone, yay. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Ashley's in our show.
Yay. I'm so excited to see all of you, and anyone who's watching, whether you're watching live with us or you watch the recording, please come join us. Say hi if you see any of us. Introduce yourself. I think that what the spirit of this project really is about building relationship and community. And so let's continue to do that even as we're watching the performance and going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, again, that was 6:30 p.m. Friday and Saturday at Snug Harbor. If you didn't catch it, do people need to buy tickets in advance? Okay.
Yes, I think the link was posted
Awesome.
in the comments. There was a Facebook link to that, and if they go on the website, they could also find a link to the tickets.
Awesome.
And it is outside. It is outside, just so everyone knows.
Yay.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
It's an outside performance, if anyone. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that'll be nice. So, bring some snacks, have a little picnic.
Exactly.
That sounds like a great Friday night.
And they're predicting good weather, so I'm very excited.
Yay.
Theater gods are on our side.
Yay, I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so everyone, I will see you there, be there or be square, as they say. Yes, I'll get to see both of you in person. I'm looking forward to that. And absolutely. I would be remiss if I didn't remind folks that tomorrow is election day. So even before, make your Friday, Saturday plans, but tomorrow, whatever you have to do, this is a very important citywide and state election. And, I'm running for Congress, but the reality is that these local elections have the biggest impact on our day-to-day lives, the decisions about our city budget and, which potholes are getting fixed and which school is getting funding. Those are all made at the city council level and at the state level. So make sure you look where your polling place is, make sure to turn out. I will be out there being a hype woman for voting and for some of the candidates who I know are really trying to champion everyday people, showing my support. So I hope to see you there. If you see me or any of the team, come say hi. Don't be shy. And after that, we'll see you at Snug Harbor. And after that, we'll see you, also in the neighborhood and in the community centers and in the streets, because what we're doing here is really about continuing to listen deeply to each other and to really close the gap, for many folks who I think, like me, for most of my life felt like, no political party was really fighting for me and for people like me and my family and my community. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there who feel that way. So if you are one of them, get involved, because it's an opportunity for all of us, whether it's through theater and arts, or whether it's through campaigning of different types, or whether it's just getting involved in mutual aid projects like the Community Fridge on Forest Avenue, different things. We are.
Oh no!
I feel so bad. This keeps happening.
I know. I feel so bad. I
know. I think she's right, though. I think Mercury is in retrograde. If anyone out there knows if that's fact, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's posting get involved. Wait, here she comes.
Oh, wait, she might be coming back one more time. I see it, I think. People are watching this going, like, what's happening?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I don't know.
I know. This has to be, we're keeping everyone on their toes. Can you hear me again now?
Yeah.
Though?
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
We can hear
you. It's okay. We understand. It happens.
I do think you're right. I think it is Mercury retrograde.
Okay. Yes. When in doubt, I prefer to blame all of our struggles on the cosmos. All right, y'all. Well, I think I'm on a little bit of a delay, but I just want to make sure to say thank you. Thank you for having this conversation.
We appreciate it.
I would love to have another one sometime in the future when we're not having horrible technical difficulties.
We'd love that. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really our pleasure. And we will. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
And
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks
again.
Out there.
Bye. Thanks so much.